I'm going to show you now how to use the 3-thread overlock or 3-thread cover stitch. So the 3-thread cover stitch makes a stitch like this with 2 top stitch threads and then a chain on the bottom. This is good for like the edge of t-shirts because it produces a stitch that can stretch but also looks like a clean top stitch, clean double top stitch without the chain. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you how the 3 threads come into the machine. First of all, this is your looper thread. So this is the one that's going to create the chain on the bottom side of the fabric. And then your 2 top stitch threads, which are going to create the 2 top stitches on the surface of the fabric. So the machine can be opened up like this. You can open this little slider window and you can pull this bar back so that you can see the bottom looper going through the machine. If you need to, you can also open up this little flap, which will also expose some of the inner workings of the machine. Typically, you will not need to rethread this machine or do any of this unless the looper thread is out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to tie on new threads and pull them through the machine so that we can change the thread color. If you have any trouble with this, just ask your sewing lab tech or faculty member to help you. Okay, first things first, right now we have black thread, which is pretty difficult to see. So we're going to change our looper thread from a black woolly nylon to a white woolly nylon and pull it through the machine so that you can see the operations. So the first thing I'm going to do is just like any other changing of the thread color, I'm just going to snip this off. And I'm going to tie this thread on like so, just using an overhand knot should be fine with the looper. The woolly nylon thread is not very strong, so you'll have to be careful with that. And then I'm going to lift the machine and pull so that my chain is broken and I get my 3 individual threads. Now, I'm going to grab my woolly nylon thread, and as I'm pulling it down, let me cut off these little extra pieces so that you guys can really see what's happening here. Oh, it's so springy. It's hard to get it off. Just cut these little pieces off here. That one doesn't want to let go. There we go. I'm just going to cut my tails off. Make sure that doesn't get tangled. As I'm pulling this through the machine, we're going to see that it goes down through here, down through these 2 thread guides, and around the bottom of this tension disc. Now as we go down through the bottom, it's going to go through this guide, around this tension disc, and then mainly the part that is very important is that that thread needs to pass through this vertical kind of window from one side to the other. And follow it through the guides, and then I'm just going to show you how it goes through the head, the needle here. And it's going to come through the machine and out. Okay, like that. I'm going to lift it so that it can pull through easily. Boop. All right. If anything seems funky or you can't see it, tweezers are always helpful. I'm just going to grab this and make sure that it's got a nice long tail coming out through the back of the machine like that. Okay, so our looper thread is changed to white. All right, now we're going to do the top threads. So I'm going to do 1 thread with pink, and the other thread with green. Put the pink one on the spool. This machine will take any kind of serger thread, so it needs to be 40 tex thread, usually like spun, coarse spun polyester and cotton. Any kind of serger thread should work. But again, if you have any questions about how to change the thread, just ask one of the sewing techs or one of the faculty members, and they'll help you out. Tying on, I'm going to do a square knot on this one so that it can go easily through the needle when the time comes. Like that. We're going to cut off our tail so that we can see what's going on. And since this is on the top, this one should be going through the left hand needle. So I'm going to raise my needles up to the highest needle position, and I'm going to grab this thread out so that I can pull it gently through the machine, and you'll see it moving. So first we're going to go through here, down and around the tension disc. You may have to help it out a little bit. It's going to go in here, and if you ever have to rethread this, you can lift that little window up. These are also color coded, so we're going through the green coded path, down through green, down behind this bar, and down through the needle. Sometimes you have to kind of work it through the needle like this if you're just getting it started with the new color. The exact same thing goes for the other needle, so we're going to try that out with the green thread. So it doesn't really matter which spool you're on, but it's kind of up to you. If it helps you keep things straight, then you can put the spool on the corresponding pin. It helps you kind of keep it straight in your head. Okay, I'm going to go here. And we're going to cut this off. I'm going to do a square knot. Like so. And then I'm going to gently pull this through the exact same way that we did the other one. Now, in all honesty, the spool that it's going on doesn't matter until you get to this part, right, where it's going actually through the needle. So that one kind of came out. So if you do need to rethread the needle, tweezers are helpful. I usually just kind of cut my end of my thread off so that I have a really blunt end. And we're going to go front to back and grab it with the tweezers. Okay, and that thread should go under and out the back. Now, I like to make sure that my threads are going underneath the foot and out the back. So usually I'll try to go ahead and push them down through the machine and under in preparation for sewing. So I'm just going to kind of get them going through there. you can go underneath and grab them and pull them through. It's very easy for things to get caught, so we want them coming out from underneath the foot and out to the side. All right, now, moment of truth. We're gonna see how it works. Okay, so you get ready to sew. You can close everything up. The right pedal lifts the foot. Put your fabric under the needles. Don't ever start like off the edge. Make sure it's under the needles, especially if you're testing it for the first time. Make sure the machine is on, and then you can begin. Start slow, and the harder you press the pedal, the harder it's going to go. Faster it's going to go, I mean. And this machine, when you get to the end, you can just gently run it off the edge, or if you had a sleeve or a hem that was round, you could just run the machine right off onto the edge like this, and then lift and pull it out like that. Or you could continue to make the chain, and you should have a nice double top stitch and a chain going on the back.